Now coming to the stage, put your hands together for Iwan Ooh!
Hey, what's up, you guys? Yeah, you know, many important things were invented in China, right? Like paper, porcelain, gunpowder. But one thing the Chinese didn't invent, the car.
You had to throw that in.
You know, Iowa produces the most eggs and pork in all the states of the United States, you know? But it also produces the number one question, who the fuck lives in Iowa? And North Dakota, on the other hand, produces the most wheat and tears. You know, when I was a kid, the place for stray dogs and cats or whatever was the pound, you know? But then they changed it to the animal shelter. But they changed it again to the Humane Society. Like, what the hell does that even mean, you know? It's a society of humanity? Like, what do they do there, you know? They're like, oh, well, we house and feed stray dogs. And then we try to find them homes. And then after 6 days, we murder them. Hey, whoever named whales was like the least imaginative scientist in the world, right? He's like, that whale's blue. It's a blue whale. That whale's gray. It's a gray whale. That whale's a humpback. It's a humpback whale. Hey, that whale killed the other whale. Well, that's a killer whale. Even the word the narwhal, right? Someone would probably ask him like, hey, is that a whale? He's like, nah. Wow. That's a narwhal. Yeah, Alaska is by far the biggest state in the, you know, America. But it's so like far away and shit, you know, it's so desolate. Like I'll never go there and shit. I don't care what anyone says, you know. Even if somebody's like, hey, you know, would you like to do a comedy special? I'm like, yeah. They're like, it's in Alaska? I'm like, no. Yeah, George Washington was the first president, you know, and Joe Biden is 46. It's kind of ironic since they were both classmates in high school. Joe Biden old. Yeah, Hello Kitty is making a comeback. You know, she first came out like in 1974 in Japan, right? That's fucking like 50 years old and shit, you know? If she were real life, it'd be Sayonara Kitty. Yeah, when I first saw Nina Nguyen, you know the comedian Nina Nguyen? Like, when I first saw her in the audience, you know, I always thought she was like this petite little Asian lady. But then I stood next to her one day and I realized she's the exact same size as me. Yeah. And so I was thinking, like, I think she's my Hollywood comedy doppelganger. There's a lot of Hollywood comedy doppelganger teams, you know. One is Lena and Paige, right? Another is Dr. Lou and Time and Ship. And then, but the most obvious doppelganger couple. But the most obvious is Guy Rubin in the bathroom toilet. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, a female comedian, she was up here and she asked me if I had 3 female friends. I was like, I'm a comedian, I don't have any friends. Yeah, I used to live next to this. I used to live in this apartment complex next to the cemetery, and one day one of my neighbors told me that, you know, some nights, like the people you see walking around, they're not really there. You know, they're ghosts. And I was like, oh, that's crazy. Then we moved. Now, you know, many people honeymoon in Hawaii, right? But people in Hawaii, you know, they don't honeymoon there, right? They honeymoon in Las Vegas. I don't know if you knew that. And then people in Las Vegas that get married there, they all honeymoon in divorce court. Why didn't the oyster share his food? Because he's shellfish. Alright. You know, I think we should go back to calling dwarves little people, you know? Because the word dwarves is like too like magical sounding. And I kind of get it, right? Because they have dwarfism, so they're dwarves, but I don't think it really works like that, you know? Like, people with elephantitis aren't called elephants, and people with leprosy aren't called leopards. They're like, I have leprosy. Wow. Oh, forgot my finger. Okay, I'll tell you a story. You know, when we did grenade training, right, in the Army, in base training, you know, when you're holding a grenade, right, it's really dangerous, you know, a live grenade. And so we were taught to use a death grip, right? And they're like, what's a death grip? Yeah. And Jill started told us this. All right, let's say you're on a plane with your buddy, you know? And the plane goes up to cruising altitude. You're at 30,000 feet. And then the captain says, okay, you can take off your seatbelt now and move around. And then this waitress comes around, she's giving everyone coffee, and she gives you a cup of coffee. Now, as she walks by, she has like the nicest ass you've ever seen. So you turn to your buddy and go, oh my God, you see her ass? And when you do that though, you accidentally hit the cup of coffee and it splashes on the window. Now, because of the hot coffee, cold window, it shatters the window, right? Because you don't have a seatbelt on, it sucks you out of the airplane. Now you're flying through the air about to die, but with one hand, you manage to grab the tip of the wing. So you're sitting there just holding onto the tip of your wing with one hand. That is the death grip you hold a grenade with, you know, especially once you pull that fucking pin. You know, and you're holding it next to your head kind of, right? And you're like, get away from me! You know, and then you have two of them shit, and like, it takes about 4 to 7 seconds to blow up, and that's the longest fucking 4 to 7 seconds you'll ever have. And then you throw the other one, you're like, shit! And then it blows up. And then after that, I went to the bathroom, I took the best dump I ever had. Okay, when I was in 8th grade, on the very first day, there was this huge fight at school. I didn't see it, but everyone told me about this fight. It had to do with Chago. This guy Viet, this little skinny Vietnamese kid. I'd never heard of before. He's some 7th grader. This is when I was in 8th grade. And then Chago, right? Everyone knew who this guy was. He was like this Mexican gangster guy, and he had a bald head and stuff. And then all throughout 7th grade, you know, I avoided this guy like, you know, to the death. I was scared to death of this guy. Anyway, first day, they get into a fight, apparently. And then the first thing he does, Viet, he gets into like this weird kung fu stance like this, right? And everyone just starts laughing, you know, because they think he's fucking around or something. But then they start fighting, and then he starts punching and kicking the guy, right? Like all these weird kung fu kicks. And then he starts kind of beating up Chago, right? And so Chago's got these two buddies, and they're like, fuck this, right? So they jump in. And this guy, he starts beating up all three of them, shit, like Jackie Chan and shit. And like everyone told me, like it looked like the three guys were moving in slow motion, and then the other guy was just going bing, 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 you know. And he was just beating all three guys. Anyway, Chago goes to his backpack and he gets these two sharpened pencils, you know. And he's like, "Fuck you, I'm gonna fucking kill you," you know. And so he starts kicking at the pencils and shit. And he breaks the pencils, and then he just starts kicking all three of their asses again. And then finally, they all just run away. They're like, fuck, you win. And fucking after that, like everybody in my school took martial arts. Me too, you know, we all took martial arts. And all of us stopped using pencils. Okay, I'll tell you another story. You know, you get a lot of nicknames in the Army. I would say the most unfortunate nickname I ever heard was Nopi, right? This guy Nopi. I don't know what his real name was, but like I said, to this day, if I see him, you know, if I saw him, like, Nopi, you know, and he knows. He knows that's his name. Anyway, from the very beginning, our drill sergeants tell us, okay, the very best 2 shooters will get to shoot the AT-4. It's like a rocket launcher, right? And so I tried my best, but I was like 5th out of like 200. Anyway, so we're all watching one morning, the best 2 shooters. And the first guy goes up and they hand him a rocket launcher, right? You know, this is a pretty special thing, you know, I've never seen a rocket launcher go off. Anyway, in the movies, it's like, right? But that's bullshit. Anyway, so this guy, he's up there, we're watching him, and he's like messing with the thing. And it takes a while, because there's like 5 steps you have to do to get it ready to fire. And then he puts it on his shoulder, right? And right then we're all like, you know, and we're fucking just waiting. And all of a sudden it goes, boom, right? And there's 2 clouds like on either side of him. And this fucking like orange football thing goes shooting out, and it hits this tank. And it doesn't blow up instantaneously, it's like, boom, right? And all these fucking sparks go flying and shit. And we're like, fuck yeah, that was fucking awesome, you know? And so the next guy goes up, and then the same thing, they hand him a thing. He's like messing with it, like the sights and all that. And he puts it on his shoulder, right? We're like, all right, here it is. But this time it's like, boom, and he goes straight into the ground and shit, like just 10 feet in front of him. It's like, boom. And we're like, you suck, you fucking loser, you can't shoot for shit, you know? And then so, not long after, somebody gave him the name No Penis. Like, you know, no penis, or like happiness, but nope, you know? And so that got shortened to Nopey. And that's the name, Nopey. If I ever see him, I'm like, Nopey! All right, comedians will always tell you 2 things, you know? They always tell you when they just get booked on a show. They always tell you when they just had sex. That's a bit juvenile, right? Like myself, I haven't been booked on a show in over a month. But I did get laid last week, so whoa! I made me one of them, thank you.
in here.